Now, I know you shouldn't start a video with an apology, but this is me. Apologies. The audio doesn't work in this video, and so this is me overdubbing it like a really bad foreign film. Because what happened was, I just downloaded iOS 26 beta on my iPhone, and guess what? iOS 26 had got a bug which didn't record video audio. I thought it was the DJI mics. No, it was even the one inside the iPhone. So anyway, what I've done is I've done you a little video that follows on from this. This is where I had the radio. It's now gone back and it's at the Newark Showground, or should be soon, for the Hamfest type thingy that's going on, and it'll take pride of place on the Icom stand. So I'm just going to switch over now to the other footage so you can see the radio there. There it is. More info, more useful stuff coming up right now. Right, so you just heard, hopefully, my voice over the top of that other clip, which is all about the disaster I had with audio on the original video. So this is me with the IC-9700 disappeared because it's gone via FedEx up to Hamfest at Newark to be used there and be star on the stage, hopefully, or on the Icom stand. And they've got loads of amazing announcements you've probably seen at the moment there, with that's particularly the 7300, the sister rig to the 9700. There's a Mark II. You're probably thinking, is there going to be a Mark II for the 9700? I don't know. So let's just talk about the 9700 already. You've probably seen all the videos on YouTube already. If you've tuned into this, you're probably interested in the 9700. First of all, would I buy one? Yes, I would buy one. They're the best part of £2,000 here in the UK with a free speaker or whatever, depends where you go from. Yes, you could do other things. You can buy other SSB 2-meter rigs, will probably cost you less. Bearing in mind, let's just go through though what the IC-9700 offers. And I only scratched the surface. I'd love to do a lot more on one, and that's why I'm seriously considering buying one. Because not only can you do 2 meters, so I used it for 2 meters FM, I used it for 2 meters SSB. It was brilliant being able to join in on the contests for the RSGB, and finding that 5-element Yagi I have up in the loft was wicked. And that dates back from like the 1980s. It's still okay, still tunes at just slightly worse than 1-to-1 SWR, which is fantastic. So you've got the 100 watts available on FM. I was able to use that on SSB with the beam, which gives me effectively nigh on 3/4 of a kilowatt ERP out of the Yagi, not counting on losses along the line, but it was only a short coax anyway. So what I used a little bike stand with some adaptions to put the Yagi on, got up somewhere high, and it was great fun. And even out my back garden here at 85 meters above sea level, with just it poking over the top of the fence and pointing south, I was able to get good stuff. And I also operated on FT8 as well. When there was the machine generated contest, the RSGB, that's, if you're abroad, wondering you are the RSGB, that's the Radio Society of Great Britain, our national sort of amateur radio body who do fabulous work. Their contest for machine generated went at FT8, and 2 meters was alive. It was fantastic, and you know, it wasn't hard to do VHF DX onto the continent, the sort of things that people do on 40 meters on POTA with a wire close to the ground. And when I go up high on FT8 on a Monday, when I thought nobody beyond 2 meters, I went up 1,200 foot above sea level, 400 odd meters, and I was knocking out, stations all over the place, over Europe, over the UK, and it was fabulous. So, as you can see, I really enjoyed using it. A few myths you get about, people tell you that 2 meters there's nobody on there. Well, I found from about 3 PM onwards UK time, lots of local nets, lots of repeaters that are very busy as well, particularly down in the West Midlands, which is further obviously southwest of here. I'm up in the East Midlands, and loads of stuff, loads of activity going on. And as the evening goes on up through to about 8 o'clock, 2000 hours, there's quite a bit of net activity. So FM is great, right? Put a CQ out. So that's the point, actually, to just remind myself. Remember, nothing happens till you put a CQ out. Don't just listen, put a CQ out. There's too many people listening and not enough people CQing. A bit preachy, I'm sorry, but it does wind me up, because once upon a time, everybody put a CQ out. Yeah, there were listeners, but everybody put a CQ out. It's the thing that radio is supposed to be friendly and social. If you're not, to be frank, if you're not friendly and social, just be a shortwave listener. Anyway, So I get up preaching the other way. So it was great that way. I really, really enjoyed it. But if I had one for longer, what would I do? I was speaking to a friend of mine who operates an IC-9700 in Belgium. He's got a patio stand, you know, for an umbrella on his patio. He's got a flat near the coast in Belgium, and he operates 23 SEMs right up into the Scandinavia and down towards France when the conditions are right on 23 SEMs. He's got one of those diamond, very expensive but very good tri-band verticals. I mean, that's all he uses, and he has great fun on 70 SEMs, 23 SEMs and 2 meters. They're really good, but you remember with all these bands it's all about location. So something else I wanted to cover on this radio as well, because I say you can look up all the reviews, all about the power, all that, it's all well known, but what's it like to use? It was great to take out on a POTA. Put in a backpack, and I've got my Hyper-Lee 30 amp battery. Yes, together they're quite heavy, but they're no heavier, and particularly probably lighter than my IC-705, my Zygo 125B linear, and my Hyper-Lee 30 amp battery, and then everything else. And actually, your HF antenna. When you add all those together, blinking heavy to take out my POTA. Now, if you go to POTAs with height, it's quite easy to activate a POTA on 2 meters. I even tried it on the local POTA just down the road here, which is GB4427. I failed, but if I'd have stuck longer at it, I would have definitely passed. And on the machine generated contest, I probably could have activated that park using my little Yagi, because you've got a 5-element Yagi. They fold down dead easy, and you just carry it dead light. So Hyper-Lee battery, 7300, and a Yagi, the bit of coax, and my bike stand, and honestly, great. So yes, you can activate POTAs, and I'd say it's more fun. Now remember, I would get rewarded behavioural science and all that sort of stuff, which I'm sure you've all studied through your jobs. But you know what it's like, gamification, and it's a bit like when you play PlayStation games and stuff like that. If it's hard enough but there's a reward now and again, it's a little bit random, it's really great to do. If it's too easy, you switch off too easy, and if it's too hard, you don't do it. So for example, if you've got a Bofang on FM on 2 meters and you live at the bottom of the valley, there's no repeater nearby, you're going to really struggle, and you're going to hate 2 meters, and particularly 70 centimetres, let's say, it's going to be even harder. However, if you go up somewhere high and you've got a 2 metre radio or 70 SEMs, you're going to get out, and if the conditions are right, you're going to have a great time. So what am I trying to say? With these radios, they're brilliant, but you've got to relearn radio. It isn't like HF, and bear in mind a bit of like history. You think what we all used to do, us original Gs, is we got a Class B licence, then we cut our teeth after CB, the illegal CB, we cut our teeth on 2 meters and 70 SEMs. And then when we got our Morse qualifications, we then learned how to use HF. But we're already operating, we're already doing SSB, we're all doing stuff like that. But different skill set, different antennas, all that, we had to learn how to do HF. But because we did it that way, I think it made HF a bit more fun, and I would argue it's a different skill set, and actually it makes you a bit sharper. I think HF, the new licensing requirements, good or bad, well, we could all argue about it and write letters to the editor, but what it's done, I think it's caused a chase to HF as the default. And as a result, you can go out with not a lot of watts, with a decent piece of copper wire to chuck out, and decent propagation. And let's face it, we've all operated on POTA and activated POTA when everybody said the bands are terrible. We've still set up, operated, put everything down, been back in the car within an hour, and everybody goes, bands are rubbish, I wasn't even bothering. You go on 20 metres, you get enough people, you get them in the log, you're back in, you've got your 10 contacts, job done. After a while it starts getting a bit boring. Let's be frank, it really gets being a bit boring. However, if you're on 2 meters, it's a bit more challenging, and you get more of a kick when you get contacts. So if you get France, for example, out your back garden, you go, oh, that's amazing. But if you get, let's say, Asiatic Russia out your back garden on HF, you're going to go, oh, it's Asiatic Russia. If you did that on 2 meters, blimmin' heck, you throw a party for your mates. So, having been that sort of person who's criticised 2 meters nowadays and said, to get it going, we need to be chucking out radios for 10 quid. Obviously, an 1800 quid radio isn't going to go for 10 quid because the technology in it's amazing. However, if you're really committed to it, and what I'd like to do, as I'm trying to get to, is to do dual band satellite operation. There's people in my club, South Derbyshire, Ashby and the Wolds, who do it and have amazing fun. You can go onto your local radio shop, for example Radio World, and you can type in that you want a dual band antenna for satellite, give them a ring, and they will probably sell one, and lots of other people will as well, and they're mega, right? And you can see lots of stuff. TikTok, for example, has got so many people operating, do so many good things on satellite, on dual band, and some people are even doing it with quenching, for example, and just a handheld circular polarity Yagi, and they're operating the ISS repeater. You know, amazing results. They're fantastic. I'd love to have a go at that. So it isn't just an FM SSB, is it? FM and SSB. It does loads of things. So you can do all those things, and you can have great fun and experience parts of the hobby. There isn't just, you know, sitting behind your desk, switching on your HF radio and sitting in a queue, for example, to get somebody to give you a 5 and 9, your 5 and 9 73s, QSL via QOZ or something. I don't know. But it's not. After a while, you're going to get tired and you're going to sell your stuff. Or what you're going to do is keep buying and buying HF rigs, hoping that one of them excite you. What I would say, things like the IC-9700, if you can get a 2-metre rig on SSB and you can get up high with a Yagi on a stand, you're going to have amazing fun. So there you go. There you go. The only thing I'm thinking is if they bring out a Mark II of the 9700, will they do the 1,000 quid deal like they did with the 7300? Now that is something to think about, and I don't know anything at all. All I would say is, for the fun I had with it, it was flipping fantastic. And the great scheme of things, coming from my other hobby, cycling, 1,800 quid isn't even a set of wheels. Anyway, thanks ever so much for watching. If you've got questions on it and stuff like that about my experience and stuff I haven't covered, please drop it down in the comments, and I'm more than happy to answer them. Thanks ever so much for your time, sitting, listening through this, listen to me rabbit on, and enjoy whatever you're doing on the radio. 73s.